I'm doing a rebuttal speech on Francisco's claim, fact speech, that was alcohol and cigarette companies target as minors, which is detrimental to child development. He had three secondary claims. First being that this leads to addiction later in life. The second being that negative effects on children is stronger. And the third is that this is dangerous. The evidence used to support the first secondary claim is that the National Cancer Institute stated that the average age when people first begin smoking has lowered. I went on the website and, in fact, the age has risen from 14.77 to 15.01. So it's between the 12-year-old and 17 years bracket, and this study was conducted by the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration between the years 2002 and 2008. The second supporting evidence for the first claim is that the National Institute on Alcohol Abuse and Alcoholism is that they stated kids who begin drinking before 15 are 4 times more likely to develop alcohol dependency. The rest of the quote is actually that it's in comparison to 20-year-olds who first begin drinking. The article also states that it's not clear whether starting to drink at an early age actually causes alcoholism, or whether it simply indicates an existing vulnerable to alcohol use disorders. It also states that both early drinking and alcoholism have been linked to personality characteristics such as strong tendencies to act impulsively and to seek out new experiences and sensations. These are from the articles of Journal of Studies on Alcoholism and Alcohol Health and Research World. My counterclaim is that the causes of addiction are less about advertising and they're more about personal relations. The second secondary claim has its evidence is that because of the smaller size alcohol and cigarettes, children consume have proportionally stronger negative impacts because they have smaller bodies, so it has a bigger impact. There was no evidence to support this claim, and my reasoning is that this isn't necessarily true because some adults have bigger bodies, have smaller bodies than children, and then some children have bigger bodies than adults. The evidence supporting this is that About.com cited that the CDC reported that the average weight of children is increasing. My counterclaim is that the negative effects are stronger in any person with a small body, not limited to children. The third secondary claim is that it is dangerous. He did not specify what dangerous was. I took it as to mean fatal because he cited fatality rates. There was statistics that he cited said that the CDC stated that 23% of teen deaths in 1995 came from alcohol-related accidents. My evidence is that 23% out of the article, the 23% of the 3,300 deaths signified that there were 14,600 youth deaths in that year. I was at CDC and I generated my report, and it said the youth deaths totaled 17,288. None of them were cited to have come from alcohol-related incidents. My reasoning on this one is that alcohol does not cause accidents, people who consume it do. Alcohol companies also do a lot of advertisement and have like lots of taglines on the billboards and TV advertisements saying that drink responsibly. Secondly, based on the definition of fatal injuries, there's also evidence that in that year 1 million non-fatal injuries were attributed to alcohol, as cited by the stats website. My counterclaim is that most accidents attributed to alcohol are unfatal. Yes, thank you.
All right, well, you labeled and outlined the argument pretty clearly, so that part is fine. You're presenting some contrasting statistics. On the first point, for instance, you did have a nice contrasting statistic about the average age of smokers and how it had actually gone up. But the question is, what does that mean? Does that mean that advertising is not an impact on whether or not kids smoke? Does it mean that fewer people are smoking or they're waiting to smoke later, and so inherently advertising, if advertising costs have gone up, that means that they can't be having this effect? There's got to be something else that is influencing their decision to smoke, and therefore it's not really advertising. You've got to tell us what the inference is with that particular statistic. All right, and then there's an argument about causality concerning whether or not the kids, become, they drink, and that causes problems for them, or do they have problems and that causes them to drink? It's kind of an interesting argument there. You make a counterclaim on that point that's mostly unsupported, and I didn't think that issue did you much good. All right, as you're getting to the next point, I also thought it was a little bit vague on the transition there. You're challenging a lot of evidence, but mostly it sounds like you're challenging, small numbers of things. At one point we're going, oh, it's not 14,000, it's 17,000. I'm not sure how important that is. You've got to press on the kids. Well, some kids, they can be big too. And I'm going, these are minimal kinds of presses, and they don't really add anything to your argument. You don't tell us how substantially they would impact the advocate's argument. They raise a question at best, and they're not really particularly strong. The argument that you make at the end that says, well, it's not alcohol that causes the problems, it's people who drink the alcohol that cause the problems, okay. That's a reduction ad absurdum that is probably not really worthy of much discussion. You are correct. It's people who consume the alcohol. So, the bottle of booze didn't cause the death. There aren't drunk driving accidents. There are drunk driver accidents. Again, that's like one of those things about splitting hairs. What does it get you in the long run? How does it answer the position that the advocate is taking? You might have a perfectly legitimate point here, but it doesn't add anything to the argument. And you need to clarify what's the impact of the things that you're saying on the argument that's being presented by the advocate. All right, thank you.